This video covers our final property of exponents that we're going to discuss, which happens when you have a parenthesis or a product of things being raised to a power. So just like always, the best way to go about figuring out what's going on here is by just writing it out and seeing what you get. So when you have x to the third squared, that really means you're multiplying x to the third by itself twice. So this really means x to the third times x to the third. Because we're taking it and we're multiplying it by itself 2 times. Well, using our property number 1, we know that this, they're side by side, you just add the exponents, is really just x to the 6th. On my second example here, x to the 8th is being raised to the 5th power, so we're multiplying x to the 8th 5 times. So when we go ahead and multiply all of this out here, again, we're going to use our addition rule now. They're side by side, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. We get x to the 40th power. On our last one, this whole thing is being raised to the 3rd power. So that's 2x to the negative 4th times 2x to the negative 4th times 2x to the negative 4th. 2 times 2 times 2. I'm going to write it as 2 to the 3rd right now, although you could just multiply it out and get 8. And I'm going to have x to the negative 12. Because I do negative 4, and negative 4. Which, remember, no negative exponents allowed in your final answer. This guy ends up getting sent to the bottom of the fraction. So I end up with 2 to the 3rd is 8 over x to the 12th. So at this point, you guys are probably seeing a pattern in my exponents here. What's really going on is we're taking these two exponents here and we're multiplying them together. 3 times 2 gets me a 6. 5 times 8 gets me 40. 3 times negative 4 was a negative 12, but then we fixed it and made it a positive 12 by moving it down. One thing I do want to comment on right here, kids will get in the habit, oh, I'm multiplying things. They're going to do 3 times 2 and get a 6 there, which is obviously not what we're supposed to get. We're supposed to get an 8 on this problem. So the way kind of to fix that so you don't get it wrong, remember, every number has its own exponent. 3 times 1 is 3, and then 2 to the 3rd is equal to 8. So this takes us to our actual rule here, and then just like in the last videos, we're going to do a few practice problems. When a product, basically a parenthesis, right, like one of these, product though means no pluses or minuses on the inside here. So notice none of these have pluses or minuses. But if we raise a product to a power, all we're going to do is multiply the exponents, kind of like we're distributing it to each term. So let's try a few examples. So this parenthesis raised to that power, don't forget 3 has its own exponent of 1. Fill that in so you don't mess it up, because kids will do 2 times 3 and get 6. You actually turn into a 3, it'll be 3 to the 2nd power. 1 times 2 is 2. So 3 squared will end up being a 9. We'll get x to the 8th power, and we'll get y to the 18th. This is fine in as an answer, or you can go ahead and just make it a 9 there. And that problem's done. Again, numbers get their own exponents, they're the coefficients. So I end up with 5 to the negative 3rd. It'll be x to the negative 8 times negative 3 is positive 24. And it'll be y to the negative 21. And this problem, remember, is not done because we have negative exponents still. So we're going to end up with x to the 24th over, it'll be 5 to the positive 3rd, y to the positive 21. You can even make that 5 to the 3rd a 125. And get this for your answer for number 2. On my third problem here, I have to do, I'll start from the front. I have to do negative 2 to the 4th power it'll end up being. And when you do negative 2 to the 4th power, don't forget this guy is being raised to an even power. If I multiply negative 2 4 times, I end up with a positive 16 on this one. So I get a 16. I'll get x to the 40th. It'll be y to the negative 16th. And 0 times 4 is still just 0, so I get z to the 0. Rewriting my answer here for this one, I get 16, x to the 40th, the y to the negative 16th gets sent to the bottom, turns into positive 16, and z to the 0 is just 1, that goes away, so that's not even a factor anymore. So this doesn't even have to be written in my final answer. And on my final problem, like in all the videos here, the pattern is if the number has an exponent, all bets are off. It's not just a coefficient anymore. Pretend this is an s right here. We'll get, it would be s to the 24th, so I'm going to get 5 to the 24th power for my answer. And this number is probably too big to actually write out, so this is a perfectly good way of writing it.